I still got spiritual huggies on. Now.
Arianism was a heresy in the early church. And Arianism basically held that Jesus did not come as God. He just came as a man who had a close walk with God, but was not actually God in human flesh.
And the way that Jesus knew everything was he limited himself as a man, humbled himself, became a bondservant, was tempted at all points yet without sin, and he did everything that he did as a man in relationship with God. He didn't do what he did as God, he did what he did as a man.
He didn't do what he did as God, he did what he did as a man.
He had to, or he couldn't have saved us, because a man had to fulfill man's end of the covenant in order for us to have covenant with a God that made a covenant with man.
Because a man had to fulfill man's end of the covenant.
Blasphemy. Dear friends, Jesus most certainly did claim to be God. Before Abraham was, I am. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. I and the Father are one. Jesus raised the dead. Jesus forgave sin, something that only God can do. So Jesus most certainly did claim to be God. And any Jesus that he is preaching who did not claim to be God is not the Jesus of the Bible. If they preach a different Jesus, they preach a different gospel.
So Jesus, when he came, he was born of the Virgin Mary. Why? Because he had to have the form of a man. And he had to do what he did as a man. Because God made a covenant with himself and with man. And he said, this is my end. Holiness, perfect. 100% perfect without a flaw. No darkness at all. Here's man's end.
Because a man had to fulfill man's end of the covenant.
Here's man's end. You walk out holiness, perfection, and nothing. No sin. And this right here, I'll have a covenant with you. You will be my people, and I will be your God.
Did Jesus empty himself of his deity? No. No, he didn't. That's an impossibility. Jesus could not cease to be God.
He didn't do what he did as God, he did what he did as a man.
I still got spiritual huggies on. Now. I don't want to grow up. If growing up means being too smart for the gospel, I don't want anything to do with it.